Welcome friends to One-Stop Java Solutions. I am Snehasis and today I am going to show you about the GCD and LCM up to integers. Okay, so GCD means greatest common divisor. Okay, and LCM means lowest common multiple. Okay, so first I am going to Eclipse and here under SRC I am creating a new class. Creating main method as well and giving the name as GCD LCM. GCD LCM. Okay. So greatest common divisor. So that means if you think about two integers, okay, so there should be some integers, okay, that is the greatest one or the maximum number by which both the integers should be divisible. Okay, so this is the GCD. Suppose for 4 and 8, okay, if you think about 4 and 8, so 4 is the greatest number which is divisible, means by which the first one means 4 is divisible and 8 also divisible. So 4 is the GCD of 4 and 8. And if you think about 5 and 15, suppose if you think about 15 and 25, so among them 5 is the maximum number by which 15 is divisible and 25 also divisible, so GCD should be 5. Okay, so you have to write a Java program which will calculate the GCD and LCM of two numbers. So for that, first I am taking two variables. One is number 1. Okay, number 1, and another is number 2. Number 2. Okay, and you can take the input from console as well. Okay, so I am giving input from console, so for that giving a message that input to integer. Okay, and using scanner class, scanner is equal to new scanner okay, so using scanner class I am taking input from console. Okay, and you have to import the scanner class as well. It's java.util package, so I am importing the java.util package util.scanner, and then number 1 equal to sc dot next int. Okay, similarly number 2 also, number 2 equal to sc dot next int. Okay, and here also I am declaring number 3. I required another variable to store the modulus value. Okay, so I am taking 3 variables and using scanner class I am sc dot using scanner class I am taking the input from console and then I am closing the scanner class object. Okay, now so here you can check one thing. Suppose if I am thinking about that, I always okay, so here I am doing, so I am using do while loop. So do first I am what I do in number 3, number 3 I am keeping number 2 mod number 1. Okay, so in number 3 I am, you have to write while. Okay, I am writing letter. So in number 3 what I put the values of number 2 mod number 1. So I assume that number 2 is the greater one in than number 1. Okay, so here you can do one more thing. Here you can check if number if number 1 if number 1 greater than number 2, then you can swap those values. Okay, so int temp equal to number 2 number 1 number 2 equal to number 1 number 1 equal to 10. So I am just doing, means I am checking if number 1 is greater than number 2. That means I assume in my program number 2 always greater than. So if in case you while you are providing input from console, if you give the number 2 as means number 1 is greater than, then I am swapping these two values. So always if you, so it's no matter if you give number 2 is a means number 1 is the greater number, then it will swap and it will adjust accordingly. Okay, so there is no problem, any number you can give. Okay, then what I'll do, I'll check if number 3 equal to 0, then I will break from the loop. Okay, and then if it is not, then what I will do, in number 2 I will store number 1. Okay, and in number 1 I will store number 3. Okay, so this is the logic basically, and I will do this while number 3 not equal to 0. Okay, so until and unless number 3 is not equal to 0, I will continue this loop. Okay, and after that loop I will print the GCD values. GCD plus, so here you have to print the number 1. Number 1 would be the GCD values. Okay, so I will explain you how this will work. So just give two integers. So suppose I am giving 10 and 25. Okay, so GCD is 5. Okay, so how it will work? So first, in the first step, what I am doing here, so number 3 equal to number 2 mod number 1. So I am assuming that 25 is the number 2 and 10 is the number 1. So I am taking the modulus, so means remainder. So if we divide 25 by 10, then remainder would be 5. So this 5 I am putting in number 3. Okay, and then I am checking if number 3 equal to 0. So it's not, so break statement will not work here. So then what I am doing, number 2 equal to number 1. That means now the number 2 is, what is the number 2? Number 2 is 25. Okay, so number 2 equal to number 1. So number 2 I am printing number 1. Number 1 means 10. So number 2 is now 10 and number 1 is number 3. Number 3 means now the remainder, that is 5. okay, and check while number 3 not equal to 0. So this is not true because number 3 is 5, so it is not 0. Then it will goes here again, okay. Then number 3 equal to number 2 by number 2 mod number 1. So now number 2 is 10 and number 1 is 5. So 10 by 5, that means remainder is 0. Okay, so if 0, that means number 3 equal to 0, then it will, this break statement will execute and control goes to here and it will print the number 1. Number 1 means the value of number 1 is 5, so that 5 will be printed here. So for better understanding, here you can do one thing. Inside the loop you can here print all the intermediate steps. So here you can print number 1, okay, number 1, print the values of number 1, then print number 2, okay, and here print the values of number 3 and then print number 3, okay. Here number 1, it should be number 1, it should be number 2, and here it should be 3 plus number 3, okay, okay. So it will intermediately print all the intermediate values, okay. So now give 10 and 25, and here you can see number 1 is in the first iteration, number 1 is 5, number 2 is 10, and number 3 is 5, okay. And then so in the next step I am printing, means in the next iteration it will number 3 would be 0, so break statement will execute and print it will print the values of number 1, that means 5 will print, okay. And if you give another input, suppose if you give 7 and 8, so these are the prime of each other, okay. So if number is prime to each other means no one is divisible by any number, only one they are divisible by 1, so in that case GCD is 1, okay. So if prime, here you can see it's 1, it's 7, and it's also number 3 is 1, so it is 1, okay. And if you give the same number, then that would be the GCD. So if you give suppose 4 and 4, so here you can see GCD is 4. So in the first line it will check the number, if you divide 4 by 4, so that is 0, remainder would be 0. So for in first, if number 3 equal to 0, so it's true, so break, so that's why it's not printing anything, it's only printing the GCD, okay. So once you find out the GCD, then LCM is very easy. So basically LCM is, here you can print LCM is like that, LCM would be number 1, okay. LCM is number 1 star number 2 and divide by GCD, that means number 1, okay. So and here one thing, so to calculate the GCD, first you have to take another number here. So because number 1 and number 2 would be changed there, so here you have to int suppose LCM, okay. So here take one variable LCM equal to number 1 star number 2, okay. And here instead of using number 1 and number 2, you just use LCM, because here in this loop values of number 1 and number 2 would be changed, so you will not get the correct answer. So LCM, basically what is the LCM? LCM is means the multiplication of these two number divided by the GCD, okay. So what is basically LCM means 10, I am giving 10 and 15, and here you can see that 10 and 15, the LCM is 30. So LCM is the maximum integer values. Okay, that is, that integer value would be divisible by these two numbers. Okay, so number 1 and number 2. So LCM is the lowest common multiple, so it is the lowest common multiple that should be divisible both the numbers. So 30 is divisible by 10 and 15. Okay, so this is a formula. So if you multiply these two numbers and divide by GCD, then you will get the LCM. So once you find out the GCD, then LCM is only in one line you can calculate the LCM. Okay, so in this way you can calculate GCD and LCM of two numbers. Okay, so I hope you can understand the logic. Okay, and it's clear, I think it's clear to you. So if you like my videos, you can subscribe my channel and also click on bell icon, so that once I upload the next video you will get the notification. And also you can share my videos link to your friends, okay, who want to learn Java and any any languages, programming languages. The logic should be same, but the syntax and other things would be changed there, so they also can follow my channel. And also in the description box you can see the link of my channel, so you can go there and watch the relevant videos related to Java if you want to learn anything, or if you want to learn any topics in Java, so you can watch those topic as well. Thanks for watching.